I've been living in the Southside Williamsburg for over 33 years, all my life. And I always knew people who worked for Los Sures or volunteered for them. And when I was in junior high school, I decided that, as a part of my community, I would start to volunteer for them. And I also used it as an internship for school as well. So I started volunteering for Los Sures when I turned 15 into now. I'm an artist first and foremost and a writer. And the idea that I was told about this show was making both a visual and communicating how hard this neighborhood and also Greenpoint had to fight for a certain amount of time. And I've seen the change and the amount of protests that had to go through it. So for me, it was all about expressing it visually, because I'm an artist. So that was the main point and goal for me. Well, there was no real main focus except to reiterate the amount of protests that went into this neighborhood and the fight that went into keeping it both for the people who lived in the community and also building it into a better one for the ones who came later on. Well, I actually remember Radiac because I happened to live in this neighborhood and the Radiac warehouse was like 5 blocks away from where I lived. So it was something that I did remember growing up hearing a lot about. And some of the more recent things as well as the triangle and the 40% and stuff like that. I happen to like some of the things that have happened because of gentrification, making a clean neighborhood safer, bringing in a lot of new stores and stuff like that. But what I don't like is that my culture as a Puerto Rican woman kind of got scratched out of the neighborhood. That was a big thing in Los Sures. You see block parties for Puerto Rican Day or block parties in general for any neighbor, any ethnicity that was Spanish, because we're very mixed Spanish-wise. We were Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican. We had a whole bunch of us. And when gentrification took over, they all left, basically. We had like a small group left, and it's a little bit hard because sometimes I'll go into a place and I'll feel out of place in my own neighborhood, and it hurts a little bit. But I guess you have to learn how to not only accept progress, but change with the progress as well, and also teach with it. And this is the whole point of this show, where we're accepting the progress. We know that it's there, we understand it. But this show is meant to also express that if it wasn't for these fights, these different protests, we wouldn't be the Williamsburg that we are today and the Greenpoint that we are today. Well, almost everybody who gave us a piece or something works in the neighborhood and are actually very well known, specifically El Puente, Los Sures, which not only hosted the event, but offered us a bunch of newspaper clippings and articles and so much of the amount of protests that had to go through. El Puente, who's been in this neighborhood for, I think, over 50 years, they've had a lot of effect on not only adults, but children. So we wanted that to be a big part as well. Then there was like North Alliance and a bunch of other people from both Greenpoint and us, like right on the border. And they offered us a lot too. Actually, I learned so much from Greenpoint's side of the spectrum that I didn't know at all. And that was pretty cool for me. To be aware, to continue to want to learn about your past, but also continue fighting for your future. Because I think the youth are going to raise us. So you have to also teach them. You have to want to teach them one, but also learn from them, because we can learn from the young just as much as they can learn from us. And that's the main focus. Like, you tell them about their past so they can see and develop a better future for tomorrow. So the main concept of this mural was both to celebrate 50 years of protest de Los Sures, like they have worked in this neighborhood for 50 years, and we wanted to celebrate that one. That was the first thing. But I also wanted to express a few things. En la lucha is in the fight. We are still in the fight present day. And I wanted to make sure that that was not only said, but shown as well. The open fence for me meant that we're open to accepting new and better futures, but as well, to get there, we have to fight together as one, no matter whether it's female, male, child, animal. That was what I wanted to say. As well as the plant life, that has a lot of metaphors, and including the roots. Everything starts from the roots up. So that's expressed throughout the mural. And of course, for me, growing up in Los Sures for such a long time, I was always intrigued by graffiti and the artistic side of it. So I wanted to represent that form of art in this mural as well, because that is actually what is most known about New York City, our graffiti that's everywhere. The huge earth that you see behind it is because this is our earth. We have the power to make a better change and a better tomorrow. And together we can do so, but we have to do it united as people. It doesn't matter creed, gender, ethnicity. As people, we need to do it together. The buildings are not only different colored, but they're also in levels. And I did that, actually taking a bit of a visual from one of our organizations named Lucha. And their concept is also very similar to what we were trying to say as well. One of the other curators actually helped with coming up with a good idea for the mural, and I just depicted it. So there was different levels of what we wanted to allow the people to show. We wanted to be able to have them be able to be a part of the show. So what we did was have a live sign-in. If you weren't at any point part of a protest, at any point in the 50 years, we asked them if they could sign it. The people above, the visualizations you see above of the photos of people, are people who have passed away and didn't get to sign it, but we wanted to make sure that they were honored and memorialized because they did a lot for this neighborhood. So we wanted to make sure they were there in any small way.